Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. You know, it's kind of crazy that I even do YouTube. Okay, let's be real here. I used to stutter. I used to have a hard time speaking in public, and if somebody had said to me 10 years ago, you're going to be on YouTube, and not only are you going to be on YouTube, you're going to have 100,000 subscribers, I would have said in a very shy, quiet voice, you must be crazy. But here I am. We are over 100,000 subscribers, and it is an incredible feeling and a thank you to everybody who comes out here and has supported the channel. Quite often, I get people that ask me for tips, or what can I do to do YouTube and stuff. First thing, a lot of people will go out and they'll buy a whole bunch of equipment and things and say, I've got my studio together and so on. But you don't need to necessarily go out and spend a whole bunch of money on the front end. In fact, most of my video work is actually done right here on my cell phone. I have found my niche, which is I am a diehard Cowboys fan, and I am quite often, very rarely, in my studio as opposed to being on site. And having a cell phone, you can live stream directly from there. In fact, I live streamed first day of the draft last season with 2 microphones for 5 hours at the NFL draft, and we're going to be doing the same thing this year, just with my cell phone. So don't worry about the equipment so much as worrying about getting your voice. And here is the best tip I can give for you guys. I've watched a lot of, how to grow your channel, how to get 100,000 subscribers in a month, or you need to do this now. And I'm not going to say that the help videos aren't helpful. But here's the thing you have to understand. If they're all telling everybody to do the exact same thing, how is it that you're going to stand out? Now, I call it love. Here's the reality of YouTube. If you go with the mindset and say, I'm going to become a content creator, and I'm going to do YouTube, and I'm going to make a whole lot of money, you're going in it for the wrong reason. You need to go into this because you love doing it. As the old saying goes, do what you love and love what you do, and you'll never work for a day in your life. I didn't go into YouTube to say, I'm going to make a career of it. I went in because I loved the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm passionate about it, which is the other key to it. Whatever you're going to make your channel of, it has to be about something that you are passionate about and that you know better than anybody else. And that will come through on the videos. Again, I've been a lifelong Dallas Cowboy King fan since I was 2 years old, growing up, sitting on the couch with my dad, not knowing what football was. I just knew I wanted to be like my father. And that's how I fell in love with being a Cowboy fan. And for me, I started doing this because I was fortunate enough to be able to have opportunities of doing things with football players, and I wanted to share it with others. And through the course of time, that evolved. And I never went into it with the idea of doing it. It was just really for the love of it. Oh, you have to think outside of the box. I remember a great friend of mine who's also an incredible YouTuber as well, Law Nation. And when we started back, I was 2016 when my YouTube channel finally started getting some traction. YouTube was very different than it is right now. And it was basically like me, Vash Lombardi, Law Nation, and Shango. This is before, everybody descended upon YouTube. Now there's a lot more competition, and there's new channels every day. In fact, there's there's over 50 million channels with content. And of that 50 million channels, only about 8% of it is actually monetized, making any kind of money. And only about 5% of it are making a living comfortably with it. So it's not easy to get there. But you have to think outside of the box, because you have to be different than everybody else. Because I remember, like, one of the self-help things, I tell you, look and see when the peak time is for your viewers, and that's when you want to post. Well, that's true. That is the peak time, and if everybody does that, then you're still lost in the mix. What's crazy is I break a lot of the rules that they tell you about YouTube. I end up putting out anywhere from 5 to 10 videos in a day. I am the Dallas Cowboys update guy. Fortunately for me, the Cowboys are always full of drama. And because there's always something to talk about, it's real easy. I don't do a lot of editing on my videos. Basically, I record, I send it up, so I don't have to spend a lot of time doing the editing work. The thumbnails. The crazy thing is when I use AI-generated thumbnails, I get less views. When I try and do special thumbnails, they don't work for me. I get more views a lot of times from the generated thumbnails from YouTube. As crazy as it sounds. And in fact, my video, which I call the Fireside Chat, that I post at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, consistently, those videos have on average more views than any other time in the day, when the least amount of my followers are on. So you have to think outside of the box in what you're doing. The other thing I'll put in here is you have to do something that's going to be memorable. Most of the things have happened to me by accident. Years and years ago, I had an Eagle fan that said that the Cowboys were so bad that not even Joe Boo from the movie Major League could help them change their mojo. I carved ahead and made a Joe Boo voodoo doll and started going around to places with Joe Boo. And something crazy actually happened. I could go to an autograph signing, or I could go to like the Super Bowl at, they'd have the television sets out, and of course they're getting the crowd. And football players will meet thousands and thousands of fans and sign autographs and not remember them. But they remember the guy who had a voodoo doll. Every time I'm at an event, there's a camera. I hold up Joe Boo. It instantly draws people to them. And it's like, what is that? And you remember the crazy guy with the voodoo doll. You have to find your thing that makes you stand out from everybody else. Value is the V. You have to figure out, what is it that you're bringing to the YouTube viewer that is a value to them? Is it a skill on how to fix their car? Is it the news that they want to hear? Is it just that this is my friend that helps me get through the day? You have to bring value for people, for them to have a reason to want to come back. And I will also put in here with V, variety. You ever drive through a tunnel and you notice how the tunnel will go to the left or it'll go to the right? It's very rarely just straight ahead. Now you might think, well, maybe because there's an obstruction, so they bent the tunnel that way. No, it's by design. The thing is, there's the term tunnel vision, and that is when you're just looking straight ahead, everything looks exactly the same. The reason why they have the tunnel go to the left or change it up is because it forces your mind subconsciously to pay attention. And because of that, it's feeding the brain, and it's keeping your attention. And so in my studio, what I'll do is I'll change the set around. I might move a bobblehead, put a different one down in there, or I'll change the camera angle, or I'll just do the video in a different spot. Because all of these things feed the mind and give it extra stimulation and say, oh my God, wait a minute, it's different. And that helps to keep people's attentions. Many times people will go through and they'll spend so much time on an intro. And for about a minute long, you got an intro. The intro is great. But if I've seen the intro 3 or 4 times, it gets to be monotonous. Or in this day and age where everybody is swiping after a few seconds to get their fix, that 1 minute that you're spending with that intro is a minute of time that they can say, maybe I don't want to watch this. Let me swipe past it. The last thing I will say is E, which is evolve. Here's the thing. The things that I did in 2016 don't work today. You know, they always say that, companies, we're a Fortune 500 company. We're going to be here forever. We're the biggest there is. We don't need to change. Those businesses aren't here anymore. And so you have to change with the dynamics and things as they change. The platform is evolving, and you have to spend the time to understand that. I remember when my good friend Law Nation was saying, because the floodgates had opened up where it wasn't just people like me that were doing YouTubes, where we were putting the U in tube. It began with all the sports writers, the insiders, the ESPNs, the Fox Sports and all that. All of those people were now coming to YouTube and being part of the platform. And I remember Law saying to me, he's like, we've got all these insiders that have all this information and everything else, and they've got the credibility. They're just going to take over. And I said, we can't worry about what they do. We can't. What we have to figure out is, what is the next thing? And see, it's like, if you remember when cupcakes were huge. Oh my God, they had they were coming up with cupcake vending machines. You had cupcakes with bacon on them and everything else. And it was just like everybody had to get their cupcake fix. If you were on the front end of the cupcake, you made a whole lot of money. If you're going into trying to do cupcakes now, it's not so big. It's a wave that's when it first starts out, it's brand new. Everybody wants to come to it. After a while, people get bored and they're looking for the next thing. So after cupcakes, it was donuts. Now, of course, Dunkin Donuts is kind of taken over. Everybody just goes to Dunkin Donuts. They don't go to the specialty one with the bacon on the donuts and stuff. Dunkin Donuts has realized how to be profitable, to do it for less, and feed the masses on it. And that's what you have to be with YouTube. You have to figure out what the next thing is and ride that wave right then and there and be ready to pivot to the next thing. For me, I have always been a guy with a day job, and I do construction work. And for me, I am always on the go. The great thing with the way everything works, it's instantaneous. I don't have any news that's different than everybody else. It's really how you package it. For me, I can be almost anywhere and the news will break. I have been up inside of the African American Museum and the Smithsonian, standing on a fire standpipe, patching a hole in the wall and doing a video. I have been up underneath the house, fixing pipes, plumbing, and do a video. And that variety is kind of my niche. That's the thing people look for. I wonder where he'll be doing a video giving us the news on the Cowboys. And that's the task that you have to find. There's nobody out there that's going to be able to tell you that this is just the thing that you have to do. The thing is, and this is the biggest secret, is to be passionate about yourself. Be willing to share yourself. Be willing to be denigrated. Then people realize you're a person just like them that has the same issues as them. And that's all I can tell you as far as doing YouTube. It's a job. It's not easy. And people will come at you and try and make light of you. But I think about what Denzel Washington actually said. Denzel Washington was quoted, and I love this quote. He says, "Those who can do, those who can't talk about the people who can." So can you or can you not? And that's the secrets. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys. On to 200,000. Peace out.